The skies over New York filled with light as the alien ship descended. It was huge, bigger than any building humans had ever made. People stared up with open mouths and wide eyes. Some ran away. Others took videos. A few dropped to their knees and prayed. Captain William Harris stood on the roof of the United Nations building, his heart beating fast. At 45, with gray hair at his temples and a strong jaw, he had spent his life preparing for war. Not for this, not for aliens. "Are you ready, Captain?" asked Lisa Mitchell. She was 38 with short brown hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. As the lead scientist on the first contact team, she had studied signals from space for years. William took a deep breath. "No one could be ready for this, Lisa. But here we go." The ship stopped about 500 feet above them. It hung there, silent, giving off a soft blue glow. Then a beam of light shot down, and 3 tall figures appeared on the roof. The aliens were not what anyone expected. They looked almost like tall, thin humans, but with blue-gray skin and large, slanted eyes. They wore simple white clothes that seemed to glow slightly. The one in the middle stepped forward. "We bring greetings from the Galactic Council." Its voice was smooth and clear, like it had been speaking English all its life. "I am Zethvar of the Zoraxian people, first speaker of the council." William stepped forward too. "I am Captain William Harris of Earth. We welcome you to our world." Behind Zethvar stood 2 other aliens. One looked like the first, but the other was different, more like a snake standing upright, with scales that shimmered green and gold in the sunlight. "This is Council Diplomat Krell," said Zethvar, pointing to the snake-like being, "of the Draconi people, and this is my assistant Mira." Lisa moved up next to William. "I am Dr. Lisa Mitchell, lead scientist for Earth's contact team." Zethvar's large eyes blinked slowly. "We have watched your people for some time. You are young, but you have great promise. The Council wishes to welcome Earth to the galactic community." News of the aliens spread across Earth like wildfire. Within hours, everyone on the planet knew that humans were not alone in the universe, and more importantly, the aliens seemed friendly. 2 days later in the UN meeting hall, Zethvar spoke to leaders from every nation on Earth. Cameras broadcast his words to billions of people. "The Galactic Council has existed for 50,000 years," he said. 12 species work together to bring peace and progress to the stars. We offer Earth a place among us, not yet as full members, but as friends and partners." He went on to describe amazing things: cures for diseases, clean energy, faster ships that could take humans to other planets. The Council would share these things, he said. In return, they asked only for some of Earth's resources and the right to build a few bases in the solar system. Most of the human leaders were eager to agree. Who wouldn't want such gifts? But in a small room off to the side of the main hall, Jack Rogers frowned as he watched on a screen. Jack was 40, with dark hair and serious eyes. As a military intelligence officer, it was his job to look for threats. And something about this deal felt wrong to him. "They're giving us too much and asking for too little," he muttered to himself. "Nobody's that generous." But his warnings fell on deaf ears. 6 weeks later, Earth signed the Council Alliance Treaty. Ships from the stars brought new machines and medicines. Alien teachers showed humans how to build better computers and cleaner cities. Life on Earth started to get better. 5 years passed. Humans built their first colony on Mars with Council help. Old diseases that had killed millions now had cures. Cars ran on clean energy that didn't make the air dirty. Most people thought the aliens were the best thing that ever happened to Earth. Jack Rogers didn't stop watching, though. He collected data, tracked the movement of Council ships, and noted which Earth resources the aliens seemed most interested in. "Look at this," he said to William Harris, showing him a computer screen. They sat in a small office in Washington, D.C. They take 10 times more iron, copper, and rare metals than they first said they would. But the technology they give us in return is always the same, just enough to keep us happy, never their best stuff. William rubbed his eyes. Maybe they just need more than they thought. And what about these bases? Jack pulled up a map showing council buildings around the solar system. They said they needed 3 small bases. Now they have 27, and they're all in places that would be perfect for controlling space travel or watching Earth cities. "What are you saying, Jack?" William asked, though he was starting to feel uneasy too. "I'm saying we need to be careful. I think they're studying us, learning our weaknesses. This friendly act might be just that, an act." William didn't want to believe it. The council had done so much good for Earth, but Jack had always been smart about these things. "I'll talk to Amanda," William said. Amanda Kelly was Earth's representative to the council, the one human who worked directly with the aliens every day. At 52, with silver hair and a strong voice, she had been a respected judge before taking this new role. When William and Jack showed her their concerns the next day, she laughed. "You military men always look for enemies," she said. "The council has helped us solve problems we've struggled with for centuries. They've been nothing but good partners." "Just keep your eyes open," Jack urged. "Something isn't right here." That night after the humans left, Amanda sat alone in her office at the council embassy in Geneva. The door opened and Zethvar entered. "You seem troubled," the alien said. Amanda sighed. "Some people are asking questions about council intentions, nothing serious." Zethvar's face showed no emotion. "That is to be expected. There are always those who resist progress." After leaving Amanda's office, Zethvar went to a secure room deep in the embassy. The walls could block any human listening devices. There, the snake-like Krell waited. "The human integration proceeds exactly as planned," Zethvar said in his own language, a series of clicks and hums no human could make. "Their suspicions are minimal and contained." Krell's forked tongue flicked out. "How long until Phase 2 begins?" 5 more years. By then, their dependence on council technology will be complete. They will not be able to resist when we increase our presence. "And they suspect nothing of the other worlds?" Krell asked. "Nothing. They believe they are our partners." Zethvar's mouth formed what looked like a smile, but had nothing friendly in it. "Like all the others did, before we showed them their true place." Outside the embassy, rain began to fall on the dark streets of Geneva. Inside his small apartment, Jack Rogers could not sleep. He stared out the window at the lights of the council building in the distance, feeling more certain than ever that humanity was making a terrible mistake. 10 years had passed since the Galactic Council first came to Earth. The red dust of Mars swirled around Ryan Blackwood as he walked from the main colony dome to the mining complex. At 36, Ryan had spent the last 5 years as administrator of Olympus Colony, the largest human settlement on Mars. He stopped and looked up at the massive council ships that hung in the sky. There were more of them every month. They came to collect the metals and minerals that human miners dug from the Martian soil. Ryan checked his tablet. According to the shipping logs, the mine had sent out 300 tons of rare metals last week. In return, the council was supposed to send new medical equipment for the colony hospital. "Sam, did that medical shipment arrive yet?" Ryan asked his assistant over the comm. "No, sir," said Sam Burton, a young man who kept track of all supplies coming in and out of the colony. "They said there's a delay, maybe next month." Ryan frowned. This was happening more and more. The council took what they wanted right away, but their promised payments to humans came late, or sometimes not at all. Inside the mine office, Ryan sat down at his desk and pulled up the shipping records for the past year. The numbers told a clear story. Mars colonies were sending 5 times more resources to the council than they had at the start, but the technology and help coming back had actually decreased. "Something isn't right," Ryan muttered. That evening, Ryan went to the colony bar. It was built to look like an old-time saloon, with fake wooden walls and a long counter where people could get drinks. Here, miners and scientists would relax after long work shifts. In a dark corner sat Sophia Winters. At 32, with long dark hair pulled back in a ponytail, she worked as the colony's language specialist. Her job was to help humans communicate better with the various council species. Ryan knew she was very smart and had learned all 12 council languages faster than anyone expected. "Mind if I join you?" Ryan asked. Sophia looked up from her tablet. Please do. Ryan sat down and lowered his voice. Can I ask you something off the record? She nodded, her eyes curious. Have you noticed anything strange about the council lately? Like they're not keeping their end of our deals? Sophia glanced around to make sure no one was listening. I've been working on something you should see, but not here. Come to my lab tomorrow night. The next evening, Ryan walked through the quiet halls of the colony's research section. Most scientists had gone to their sleeping quarters hours ago. Sophia was waiting for him at her door. I had to be sure we could talk privately, she said as she let him in. The council has listening devices in most public areas now. Inside, her lab was small but neat. One wall was covered with symbols that Ryan didn't recognize. What is all this? He asked. The council's archive language, Sophia said. Each council species has its own language, but they also have this special one they use for all their oldest and most important records. They didn't teach it to us. I learned it on my own by matching patterns. Sophia went to her computer and pulled up a file. 6 months ago, I gained access to their historical database. I told their system I was doing authorized research. It worked because they didn't expect any human to understand their archive language. Ryan leaned closer to look at the screen. What did you find? The truth about the Galactic Council. They're not what they claim to be. Sophia's voice was tight with anger. They're not a peaceful federation, they're an empire. And this isn't the first time they've done this. She showed him images and text about world after world that the council had found, befriended, and then stripped of resources. When they find a new species with useful resources, they follow the same plan every time, Sophia explained. First, they offer friendship and amazing technology. Next, they build bases and start taking more and more. Then, when the planet can't say no anymore, they move in completely. What happens to the species they find? Ryan asked, though he was afraid he knew the answer. Some become slave workers, some are moved to small areas so the council can take everything else, and some… Sophia paused. Some just disappear from the records. Ryan felt cold despite the warm air in the lab. And Earth? Mars? Our colonies? We're in phase 2 now. Soon they'll start phase 3. Military occupation. Look at these new ships arriving. They're not cargo vessels. They're warships, disguised to look non-threatening to us. Ryan thought about the strange delays, the broken promises, the growing council presence everywhere in the solar system. It all made sense now. We have to warn Earth, he said. I tried, Sophia replied. I sent messages to 3 different Earth governments, but the council controls all deep space communications now, and I think some human leaders are working with them. Working with them? Why would any human help the council take over? Power. Special treatment. And the council has mind-affecting technology they use on some species. They could be using it on key people. Sophia pulled up another file. We need to get this information to someone who can actually do something. Ryan nodded slowly. I know. Someone. Jack Rogers. He's been watching the council since they first arrived. He never trusted them, but getting a message to him without the council knowing will be hard. A soft beep came from Sophia's security system. She quickly checked the monitor and her face went pale. Council security officers are in the building, heading this way. How could they know we're here? Ryan asked. They must be watching me already. Sophia grabbed a small data drive and shoved it into Ryan's hand. Everything I found is on this. Get it to Earth somehow. The door to the lab slid open before Ryan could respond. 2 tall aliens stood there, not the friendly Zoraxians who usually dealt with humans, but Dracani security troops. Their snake-like heads turned toward the humans, yellow eyes cold and watchful. Administrator Blackwood, Specialist Winters. You are requested to attend an immediate meeting with Council Supervisor Krell, one said in a flat voice. Now? It's the middle of night shift, Ryan said, trying to sound normal while he slipped the data drive into his pocket. The matter is urgent, the Dracani replied. Please come with us. As they walked down the corridor, Ryan noticed more security officers than usual, and all the human staff seemed to be gone. Sophia caught his eye and mouthed one word. Run. When they turned the next corner, Sophia suddenly shoved the nearest Dracani hard. Ryan didn't hesitate. He sprinted in the opposite direction as alarms began to blare through the colony. Security alert. Detain all humans in Research Section 7, a voice announced over the speakers. Ryan ran faster than he ever had before, the small drive in his pocket feeling as heavy as a rock. Somehow he had to get this information to Earth before it was too late for everyone. 5 years of fighting had changed everyone. Daniel Hayes looked out the small window of the hidden base on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. The former Navy SEAL was now 42, with new scars on his face and a permanent frown. The room was cold and cramped. 20 people worked at computer stations, monitoring Council ship movements and planning the next strike. This was the main command center of the Human Liberation Front. Any news from the Mars team? Daniel asked. Ryan Blackwood looked up from his screen. His face was thinner now, his eyes harder. They hit the supply depot as planned, took out 3 cargo ships and got away clean. After escaping Mars 5 years ago, Ryan and Sophia had made it to Earth with their evidence. They showed the truth about the Council to anyone who would listen. Some believed them. Most did not, until it was too late. The Council had moved faster than anyone expected. Their warships entered Earth orbit, calling themselves a protection fleet. Alien advisors took positions in every major government. When some countries protested, their leaders suddenly changed their minds. Others disappeared. By the time humans realized what was happening, the Council controlled all space travel, all global communications, and most weapons. People who fought back were arrested or killed. Others were put in work camps to mine resources. But humans were hard to control. All across Earth and the colonies, people formed resistance groups. The biggest was the Human Liberation Front, with hidden bases throughout the solar system. Sophia walked into the command room, carrying a tablet. "The Council ship we hit last month had something important on it," she said. "The data team just finished breaking their codes." Daniel and Ryan followed her to a small meeting room. Jack Rogers was already there, looking much older than his 55 years, his hair now completely gray. "Show them," Jack said to Sophia. She put her tablet on the table and pulled up a document. "This is a Council order to begin what they call population management next month. In normal words, they plan to start sterilizing humans. 70% of us." Ryan slammed his fist on the table. "Why now?" "They think we're too hard to control," Jack said. "Too many rebellions, too many attacks on their operations, so they want fewer of us in the next generation. Just enough to work their mines and factories." Daniel's face was stone cold. "We need to hit them harder." "We still don't have the firepower to fight their main ships," Ryan said. "We need a new strategy." The door opened and Olivia Richardson walked in. At 34, she was the HLF's top scientist with short red hair and quick movements. Before the occupation, she had worked at the Council research facility on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. "I think I found something," she said, her voice excited. "Something big." Everyone turned to her. Hope was rare these days. "When I worked on Titan, I was studying human DNA for the Council," Olivia explained. "They wanted to know why humans adapt so quickly compared to other species they've encountered." She pulled up images on the main screen. They showed twisted strands of DNA, the building blocks of life. "I found markers in human DNA that match exactly with records of an ancient race called the Precursors," she continued. "The Council database says they defeated this race 20,000 years ago. But that's not the whole truth." Jack leaned forward. "What are you saying?" "The Precursors weren't defeated. They hid their legacy. In us." Olivia's eyes were bright. "Humans are their descendants, or at least were engineered by them. That's why the Council has always been careful with us, even while taking over. They're afraid of what we might become." Daniel looked skeptical. "How does this help us fight them now?" "Because the Precursors left technology behind. Technology that needs precursor DNA, or human DNA, to work." Olivia pulled up a new image, showing what looked like a star map. 3 years ago, a small research team found something strange on Pluto's moon Charon, a hidden structure buried under the ice. The Council immediately took over the site and classified everything about it. "You think it's precursor technology?" Sophia asked. Olivia nodded. And I think that's why the Council is moving to control human population now. They're afraid we'll find more sites, learn the truth, and gain access to technology they can't use. Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the base. Red lights flashed in the ceiling. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel, reported a voice over the speakers. Council battle fleet detected. They found us. Everyone rushed back to the command center. The screens showed 20 large Council warships approaching. Europa. How did they find us? Ryan asked. Doesn't matter now, Daniel said. Sound evacuation, get everyone to the escape ships. As people rushed to grab essential equipment, Jack pulled Daniel aside. We need to split up. Different ships, different destinations. If they catch all of us together, the resistance is finished. Daniel nodded. Where should we regroup? Jack thought for a moment. Karen. If Olivia is right, that's where we need to go anyway. The base shook as the first Council weapons hit the moon's surface above them. Go, Jack told the others. I'll make sure everyone gets out and set the base to self-destruct. No sense leaving them anything useful. The evacuation was chaos. Small human ships shot out from hidden launch bays, trying to scatter in different directions before the Council fleet could target them. Some made it, some didn't. Daniel, Olivia, Ryan, and Sophia squeezed into a small transport with 10 other resistance fighters. As they accelerated away from Europa, they saw brilliant flashes of light as Council ships destroyed the base and several escaping transports. Set course for the outer system. Daniel ordered their pilot. Make it look like we're heading for Neptune, then change course when we're out of their sensor range. Hours later, in the darkness of deep space, they gathered in the ship's small common area. Even if we reach Karen, what then? Ryan asked. We lost half our forces today. We don't have the numbers to take a Council research base. We don't need numbers if what Olivia says is true, Sophia replied. We just need to get inside and find whatever the precursors left there. Olivia pulled up the data she had stolen years ago from Titan. According to this, precursor technology responds to neurological patterns that only their species had. Patterns that humans also have because of our DNA connection. You're saying their tech will work for us but not for the Council? Daniel asked. That's my theory, Olivia said. But there's something else. The emotional state matters. The technology responds more strongly to intense emotions. Sophia understood first. It's tied to survival, to the will to fight when everything seems lost. Which is exactly where we are now, Ryan said quietly. Daniel stood up. Then we go to Karen, we find this precursor site, and we make one last stand for humanity. The small ship continued through the darkness, carrying what might be humanity's last hope. Behind them, Council ships began systematic sweeps of the outer system, hunting for the remaining resistance. And on Earth, not knowing what had happened, billions of humans looked up at the alien ships that now filled their skies, wondering if they would ever be free again. The small human ship drifted silently. All systems shut down except for basic life support. From the outside, it looked dead, just another piece of space junk floating in the vastness beyond Neptune. Inside, Daniel, Ryan, Sophia, and Olivia watched the screen as 3 Council warships passed by, their powerful sensors sweeping the area. They're still looking for us, Ryan whispered, even though the Council ships couldn't possibly hear him. It had taken 3 weeks to reach the outer edges of the solar system. 3 weeks of hiding, drifting, and short jumps when they were sure no one was watching. Now they were finally approaching Pluto and its moon Charon, where their last hope waited. Scanner shows a large Council research base on the surface, said Ben Porter, their pilot and tech specialist. At 28, he was one of the youngest senior members of the Resistance. Heavy security, at least 2 warships guarding it. Daniel looked at the images. We can't fight our way in. We need another approach. I have an idea, Olivia said. The facility is probably using human workers. The Council always does for basic jobs. If we can get a signal to them, maybe they can help us. It took 2 days to set up a secure communication channel. Finally, they made contact with a small resistance cell inside the facility. A man named Paul Garcia had been working there as a janitor for over a year. The main structure is built around something big they found under the ice, Paul told them, through the encrypted channel. They keep most of it locked down tight. But there's a maintenance tunnel that runs near the artifact chamber. It's how they bring in cleaning equipment. When the call ended, Daniel laid out the plan. We need to land unseen, enter through this tunnel, and reach the artifact. Olivia will try to activate whatever the precursors left there, while the rest of us hold off security. It's a suicide mission, Ryan said quietly. You have a better idea? Daniel asked. No one did. That night, as the others slept, Sophia found Olivia staring out the viewport at distant Pluto, now growing larger as they approached. Are you sure this will work? Sophia asked. That this precursor technology will respond to us? Olivia turned to her. The data shows clear links between precursor neural patterns and human ones, but there's something I didn't tell the others. Yet. The emotional connection seems strongest under specific conditions. What conditions? Fear, rage, grief? Olivia's voice was low. The kind of emotions humans feel when everything is being taken from them. When they have nothing left to source. Fear understood, like now. If it works, it could change everything. If it doesn't... Olivia didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. 2 days later, their ship skimmed the dark surface of Charon, flying just meters above the ice and rock. They landed in a deep crater that hid them from the Council base's sensors. In bulky spacesuits, they trudged across the frozen surface toward the coordinates Paul had given them. The Council base loomed ahead, its light stark against the blackness of space. There, Ben pointed to a small structure half a kilometer from the main facility. That's the maintenance access point. Inside, they found Paul waiting. He led them through narrow tunnels that wound beneath the base. Security is higher than normal, Paul whispered. Word came down yesterday that they found most of the Europa survivors. Jack? Daniel asked. Paul shook his head. No word. They moved deeper into the facility. Twice they had to hide as Council security patrols passed. Finally, they reached a heavy door marked with alien symbols. This is as far as I've ever been, Paul said. Beyond this is the artifact chamber. Olivia studied the lock. It's keyed to Council worker badges. We need one. Just then, alarms blared throughout the facility. A voice spoke in the Council language, then repeated in English. Intruder alert. All security teams converge on Section 7. That's here, Paul said, eyes wide. They know we're here. Daniel pulled out his weapon. New plan. We fight our way in. As if in response, the door in front of them suddenly slid open. A startled Zoraxian scientist stood there staring at the humans in shock. Before he could react, Daniel knocked him unconscious. Inside now, Daniel ordered. They rushed through the door into a vast chamber carved out of Charon's bedrock. In the center stood something that made them all stop and stare. It was a massive structure, shaped like a perfect sphere, floating slightly above the ground. Its surface glowed with soft blue light and was covered in flowing patterns that seemed to move as they watched. Council scientists and security forces were scattered around the chamber. They turned in surprise as the humans burst in. Get to the artifact, Daniel shouted, firing his weapon at the nearest guards. Ryan and Ben took up positions near the door, shooting at Council forces that tried to enter. Sophia protected Olivia as she ran toward the sphere. How do we activate it? Sophia yelled over the sound of weapons fire. Olivia reached the edge of the sphere. The data suggested direct physical contact might be needed. She reached out and pressed her hand against the glowing surface. Nothing happened. More Council troops poured into the chamber. Ryan took a hit and fell back, wounded but still firing. Council weapons blasted chunks from the walls around them. It's not working, Olivia cried. Daniel fought his way to them, dragging a wounded Ben. What's wrong? I don't know. Olivia pressed her hand harder against the sphere. It should respond to human neural patterns. Sophia suddenly remembered what Olivia had told her. Emotion. You said it responds to strong emotions. A blast hit near them, throwing Daniel to the ground. He got up, blood streaming from a cut on his face. Think about Earth, Daniel shouted. Think about what they did to our people, everyone we've lost, everything they took from us. Olivia closed her eyes. She thought about her family in Boston, probably in work camps now, about colleagues who died when the Council took over the Titan facility, about billions of humans living under alien rule. Sophia put her hand next to Olivia's on the sphere. She felt rage rising inside her, pure, burning rage at what the Council had done. Ryan limped over, leaving a trail of blood, and added his hand. Then Ben. Then Daniel. 5 humans, touching the precursor artifact, filled with all the anger and grief and desperate hope of their species. The sphere's glow suddenly intensified. The patterns on its surface began to move faster, flowing like liquid light. A humming sound filled the chamber, growing louder until it vibrated through their bodies. Council forces stopped firing, their attention drawn to the now brilliant sphere. "What's happening?" Ryan asked. Before anyone could answer, the sphere pulsed once, sending a wave of blue energy outward. It passed through the humans harmlessly, but when it reached the Council forces, they screamed and fell to the ground. The sphere rose higher into the air. Sections of it began to shift and separate, revealing complex machinery inside. The chamber walls themselves seemed to respond, panels sliding away to reveal hidden rooms and passageways that had been sealed for thousands of years. And in their minds, the humans heard a voice, not with words, but with images and feelings, and knowledge that flowed directly into their consciousness. "It's telling us what it is," Sophia whispered in awe. "It's not just a weapon or a ship, it's a key to waking up everything the precursors left behind." Olivia's eyes were wide. "And it's telling us where to find the rest." The blue glow now filled the entire chamber. Outside, they knew it would be visible to the Council ships in orbit. They would be coming, but it didn't matter anymore. As the precursor knowledge flowed into them, they understood what they had found, and they knew that the rule of the Galactic Council was about to end. The battle for Karen was short but fierce. As the precursor facility came fully to life, Council ships rushed to stop what was happening. They fired weapons that could crack moons, but strange shields protected the facility. Inside, Daniel watched, in wonder as the walls shifted and changed. New rooms appeared. Machines hummed to life after 20,000 years of silence. "Look," Ryan said, pointing to a large area that had opened up at the center of the facility. There, rising from the floor, were ships, not like the clunky human vessels or even the sleek Council warships. These were different, smooth and perfect, shaped like teardrops, glowing with the same blue light as the sphere. "Precursor ships," Sophia whispered. "Ready for us to use." The knowledge from the sphere continued to flow into their minds. They saw images of the precursors, beings similar to humans but taller with larger eyes. They saw how the precursors had seeded their DNA on Earth long ago, creating humans as their descendants. And they saw why. They knew the Council was hunting them down, Olivia said, understanding the images in her mind. So they hid their legacy in us. They wanted us to develop on our own, away from Council space, until we were ready to reclaim what was ours. More humans arrived as word spread. Resistance fighters who had been hiding throughout the outer solar system came to Karen. Within days, over 300 humans gathered at the facility. Daniel stood before them. "The precursor knowledge shows us how to use these ships and weapons. Each ship needs only one human pilot. The controls respond to our thoughts and emotions, something the Council species can't do. But we're still outnumbered 100 to 1, someone shouted. The entire Council fleet is heading this way. Daniel nodded. True. But these ships are far beyond Council technology, and we don't need to defeat their entire empire today. We just need to hit them hard enough to free Earth. They spent 3 days learning to control the precursor ships. Each human who connected to a ship felt it respond to their thoughts, almost like it was alive. The ships could move in ways that seemed impossible, jumping instantly from one place to another or becoming nearly invisible. On the 4th day, the Council attack began. Over 200 warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel around Charon. Their weapons turned toward the precursor facility. "This is High Commander Zethvar of the Galactic Council," came a message on all frequencies. "Surrender the HFY precursor technology immediately or be destroyed." Daniel smiled grimly. "Launch all ships." 37 precursor vessels rose from Charon's surface. They were tiny compared to the massive Council warships, but as they moved toward the enemy fleet, they accelerated to speeds that Council sensors could barely track. The first shots from Council ships missed completely. The precursor vessels darted between them, firing weapons that cut through Council shields like they weren't there. In his ship, Daniel felt the controls respond to his rage, his memories of Earth under Council rule, of friends killed, of years, hiding and fighting. The ship moved faster, its weapons struck harder, guided by his emotions. "This is for Earth," he said, as his weapon sliced a Council warship in half. 10 Council ships fell in the first few minutes, then 20 more. The alien commanders seemed confused, unable to track the human vessels or protect themselves from weapons their shields couldn't stop. "They're retreating," Ryan shouted over the comm. "The Council ships are pulling back." But one massive vessel remained, Zethvar's command ship. It was 3 times larger than any other Council warship, with weapons that could destroy entire moons. "Gather on me," Daniel ordered. "We take out their commander here and now." All 37 human ships moved toward the command vessel. Council weapons fired desperately, managing to hit 3 precursor ships, destroying 2 of them. The humans felt their anger spike at the loss of their friends, and their remaining ships responded, moving even faster. They surrounded the command ship, their weapons cutting through its thick hull. Inside his vessel, Daniel received a transmission. "Please," came Zethvar's voice, no longer strong and commanding, but weak with fear. "We can negotiate. The Council has ruled for 50,000 years. We have much to offer." Daniel remembered his first meeting with Zethvar at the United Nations, how the alien had lied with such ease, planning humanity's downfall even while smiling and offering friendship. "You crossed the line," Daniel replied. "You came to our world with lies. You took our resources. You killed our people. Now you pay the price." The human ships fired together. The massive Council vessel broke apart, exploding in a ball of light that briefly outshone Pluto's distant sun. "Set course for Earth," Daniel ordered. The journey that had taken them weeks in a regular ship took just 2 days in the precursor vessels. As they approached Earth, they saw hundreds of Council ships in orbit. The aliens had heard about what happened at Charon and had gathered their forces to protect their most valuable conquest. "We need to be smart about this," Sophia cautioned. "We can't fight them all at once." Olivia, who had been studying the precursor knowledge most deeply, spoke up. "We don't need to. The precursors left technology on Earth too, buried deep where the Council couldn't find it. If we can reach it and activate it, we can free the planet without destroying it in the process." The human fleet split up. Most ships engaged the Council fleet, drawing them away from Earth. Daniel, Ryan, Sophia, and Olivia took 5 ships down to the surface, aiming for a location in the northern part of Old Canada, a place where the precursor knowledge told them another key facility lay hidden. On Earth, people looked up in wonder as strange new ships flew overhead. Not Council vessels, but something else. When the ships landed and humans stepped out, crowds gathered despite Council warnings to stay away. "Who are you?" asked a thin man, his clothes marking him as a worker in the Council mines. "We're the Human Liberation Front," Daniel said. "And we've come to take back our planet." Word spread rapidly. As Daniel's team located the hidden precursor facility and activated it, humans across the world rose up against their oppressors. The activation sent a signal that disabled Council technology all across Earth, leaving their forces suddenly vulnerable. In space, the Council fleet found itself fighting both the precursor ships and newly activated defense systems that rose from hidden locations around Earth. It was no longer a battle, but a rout. 3 days later, the last Council ship fled the solar system, jumping away to warn the rest of their empire about what had happened, about what they had awakened by pushing humanity too far. In what had once been the United Nations building in New York, now half destroyed by the fighting, Daniel stood with the other leaders of the resistance. Before them were representatives, from a dozen alien species, not council leaders, but members of races that had been conquered and oppressed, just like humans. Catherine Lee, who had emerged as a voice of reason during the liberation, addressed them. The council ruled through fear and division for 50,000 years. We won't make the same mistake. We offer alliance, not domination, equality, not submission. An alien stepped forward, a tall, insect-like being from a world that had been one of the first the council conquered. For generations, we waited for someone strong enough to break the council. We will join your alliance. One by one, the other species agreed. The Galactic Council that had stood for so long was finished, replaced by something new. Later, standing on a hill overlooking the rebuilding of Washington, D.C., Ryan asked Daniel, "What now? We have all this precursor technology, all this power. What do we do with it?" Daniel watched as humans and aliens worked together to clear rubble and raise new buildings. We build something better, something that will last. And we remember what happens when power is abused. In the sky above, the stars shone brightly. The same stars that had once seemed so far away, now opened to humanity. The same stars that had witnessed the fall of the precursors and the rise of the council. And now, they would witness something new, the rise of humanity and its allies reaching outward not to conquer, but to heal what the council had broken.